Scoutmaster of Troop 582, one of the largest girl troops in the Western region. And I'm also a unit commissioner and merit badge counselor. But I'm going to talk to you today pretty much from my perspective as the Scoutmaster for Troop 582. Everything I tell you today is from that perspective. It's how we run 582. It's working really great, but it's not religion. It doesn't have to be that way. So if you do something different and you like what you're doing different, awesome. In fact, if we have time at the end and you want to tell us all about that, that would be really, really super great. So again, it's not like there's only one way to do it. I'm just going to tell you the way we do things. And hopefully there will be some gems in here that spark some thinking and are helpful for you. So today's goals talk about differences between girl troops and boy troops. Talk about leader training. I think it's super duper important. Talk about troop size, troop culture, how to deliver awesome program, how we have adapted to COVID and continued to operate. We have continued to operate this year and have done a number of outings, very successful. And then committee, why and how important committee is. Okay, so what's different between girls and boys in scouting? Well, there's a lot that's the same. They want the same awesome outings. They love high adventure. They want the same leadership training to become leaders of our country and of our corporations in the future. They want the same physical challenges. They love that. And of course, they want to have fun. But there are differences. There's more emphasis on a sense of community and on connecting with each other. They're not as, and the converse is true, they're not as competitive. They don't really have that, you know, my patrol is going to beat your patrol thing nearly as much as the boys. They want a lot more dialogue. They want to talk, and they do, and they're very, very good at it. And so that means they're good at communication. They're very good at coordination, at cooperation, and at planning. And the cool thing, the really cool thing is you'll be out canoeing in the Quetico up in Canada, and all of a sudden they'll all just break into song and they'll just sing for like minutes, you know, 20 minutes at a time. And yeah, that never happens with boys. So it's really awesome. I love the singing. Okay, the 2020 girl is not what those of you who are women who are in this program were when you were a girl, or I mean, unless you were an unusual girl from when you were growing up. They don't want what most Girl Scout leaders kind of establish as a model. And I mean, no disrespect for Girl Scouts, because my wife has been a Girl Scout leader for forever. But they come to Scouts BSA on purpose. They don't, and they will tell me this in Scoutmaster conferences, they don't want a leader that is risk averse and doesn't want them to do things because it's dangerous or whatever. They don't want the leader to plan everything for them. They don't want the parent or the leader to be in parent mode. And this is something I struggle with my ASMs all the time, men and women. And this is true for boy troops and girl troops. We need leaders who are scout leaders, not parents. And there's a very important distinction there. It's let the scout make the mistake. Let them learn through those mistakes. It's huge. It's amazing what it does for them. So what that 2020 girl does want, they want to go take those risks. They want to plan things themselves. And they want the adults to just sit back and be scout leaders and not moms or dads. So the most important troop position is the Scoutmaster. This picture of me over there came from our super camp this summer. They have turned this into a meme, and they make fun of me all the time with this, but it's kind of a loving make fun, okay? And this is supposedly my signature, thing, 2 thumbs up. But the Scoutmaster leads by example. You set a culture. You recruit the other adults to keep that culture going, whether it's assistant scoutmasters or the members of the committee, and you have to be just full of energy. You have to exude fun and have fun. And you know what? If you're having fun, the scouts get it, and they like that, and then they have fun. So it's really, really important to have a Scoutmaster who's willing to step up and be that person that's, creates that little cult of personality. Key adult roles. There are more adult roles than the Scoutmaster. It is a team effort, okay? The first really super important one is something we call patrol mentors. Patrol mentors are the secret for success of the patrol method, and I don't think we make as much, we don't emphasize this enough in our official training in Scouts. But the patrol mentor, their job, we'll talk about it here a little bit later, is to help that patrol leader be successful and to be the mentor for them. ASMs, we need lots of women ASMs in Girl Troops. We have to have in every breakout room, in every patrol meeting, in every outing. We need registered adult trained women, volunteers. Our committee chair is super important. He or she is organizing and running the committee. And as a Scoutmaster, you really, really want to be able to delegate or to hand off or to not have to mess with all of the things that they are messing with, and to trust them and to believe in them and to know that they've got it handled. And when you don't have that, it's a lot more work that you really don't want to be messing with. Your advancement chair is really important because they do a ton of work. They organize all the board of reviews. They have to get everything organized for the Court of Honor, and get all of the badges and everything prepared so that you have a flawless Court of Honor that didn't forget anybody and that didn't exclude somebody who should have got recognized. And then your treasurer is super duper important as well. So all of these things, finding people who are good fits and can take on this role and do it with conviction and with care in their hearts is a way to have a successful, outperforming troop. And the way that they learn how to do their job is through training. Every adult in your troop should be position trained. Now, I'm not saying every adult in our troop is position trained, but I tell you that everybody who's going to sign up in our recharter process for next year, it's mandatory that they be position trained, or we're not going to pay for their registration. And the only exception will be some ASMs can't get OLS, because outdoor leadership skills training, because it hasn't been offered this year. So we give them an exception for that. But otherwise, it's what the Scouts get out of the program. And then they turn off that parent mode thing that I was talking about and turn on leader mode. Train leaders also provide awesome program, and awesome program retains our Scouts and helps us recruit more Scouts. So size matters. The bigger the troop, the more outings you have. That's what my daughter says makes a troop great, is outings. The more summer camps you can do, the more high adventure you can do. The bigger your troop, the more of adult volunteers you get, the more assistant Scoutmasters you get, the more patrols you have, the more PLC positions you can offer to your first class and above Scouts. It just helps your troop run like the way a troop is supposed to run, is to get to critical mass. And to me, that's 20 Scouts or more. Okay, recruiting. So our troop this year began with 39 Scouts. When we rechartered last year, that's our number. And we are currently at 52. We have grown 33% this year, and it's because we recruit aggressively. COVID hasn't stopped us. And the way we do this is primarily through our parent network. Obviously, we cannot go to school functions. We cannot set up tables. We cannot put our trifold posters up that show all the fun things the Scouts are doing. The only way we can recruit is through the parent network, and it has worked great. So we've given our parents flyers, And they then give those flyers to their friends who have kids Scout age and talk to them and say it's really a great program. They're really getting to do something during COVID that is meaningful, that is helping them grow as people. And don't you want to have your kid do it too? And it's been super effective. The other thing we do is Scouts bring a friend, and we have special meetings where the Scouts bring their friend to that are completely focused on it being a fantastic experience for those friends. All of this, all of that Scout bring a friend thing is run by the Scouts, organized by the Scouts, planned by them. They create the event and what it's going to be to make it fun and exciting for their peers that are coming in. And then we've done this several times. We did it spring, summer, and fall. Culture, this is huge, 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 huge. Girls, this is an area, girls are different than boys. At schools, girls form cliques, little small groups. You know, they meet at this lunch table, at this specific lunch table at this time every day at school, and that's their little clique, okay? And if you're not in their little clique and you wanted to sit down with them, they look at you like, what are you doing here, okay? We do not want that at all in our troop. So we've established a troop culture of inclusiveness. Our troop motto is nobody walks alone. We make that a pervasive thing. It's super emphasized all the time. It's emphasized with new Scouts, with existing Scouts. It is something we care deeply about. And so it works. We have no cliques. At Scoutmaster conferences, I've had Scouts who've joined us who are in 9th grade, and they come in, and then the Scoutmaster conference are like, wow, I just love it. It's like everybody's so friendly and they include me, and I feel like I belong. And so that is the kind of thing that is so valuable to these girls, is to have that safe place with all these friends where they know they belong and they know that nobody's judging them and being harsh to them. Bullying. So this is really interesting. There's this great book that our national commissioner recommended last year at Commissioner College called Why Gender Matters. I highly recommend you guys read that book, Why Gender Matters. In it, one of the things is this learning on what's different about bullying between the way boys bully and the way girls bully. And the thing is this, the boy who doesn't feel successful and feels like they're kind of on the outs, then they use bullying as their way to make themselves feel good. But it's completely different with girls. With girls, it's often the most popular girl, the most successful girl, the girl at the top of the social hierarchy who is being the bully. And it's because she feels threatened by some girl who is showing some set of characteristics that threaten her position at the top. And so she'll become the bully to that girl. So
Dave?
Understanding that as a leader is something to look for. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Kristen has a comment.
I think what you're saying is really important. And as a leader with a girls' troop, there's two things we've done that have really helped with this too, that I think would be useful. One is that we often pair new Scouts with a buddy Scout, which is one of the older Scouts. And we really have a culture of saying that once you've mastered something, then part of the Scout way is to teach others. And so that's how you get your leadership. So you're not necessarily on top because you're skilled, you're on top because of what you give back in the troop. So we do a lot of that buddying system. And then overcoming cliques, it's super useful if we are constantly mixing up which girls are paired to do different things. So if there's some girls that are planning an outing and you have like a best friendship, which best friends are tricky because they want to do everything all the time. But we find that sometimes we say, oh, you guys have been paired up for this activity. Let's switch up partners for the next thing we're going to do. And so at a certain point, most of the girls have worked with other girls within the troop. So they start to get a camaraderie that they know all of the girls in the troop. So even though they might have a best friend, they sometimes aren't paired with their best friend. They're paired to work with others. And that's actually not a parent-led or a leader-led thing. It's something that our patrol leader has done quite a bit. So sometimes she'll be like, you know, you and you, would you be willing to teach this skill? Or you and you, would you do this outing? And it seems like she mixes up who it is doing what. And that really disrupts that clique situation. So
awesome. I love those two comments and suggestions and think they're highly valuable. Thank you, Kristen. Great feedback. Okay. So this is straight out of the kind of training that you would get from National on how, you know, what the aims of scouting are and what the methods of scouting are. And this is here just as the introduction to what we're trying to do with program. We're trying to achieve character development, leadership, citizenship, and fitness. And the way we achieve those 4 goals is through the methods. Okay, and program in essence is the method. So as I mentioned before, something that I think is super important to the patrol method is this concept of a patrol mentor. And this is an assistant scoutmaster plus. So it's an assistant scoutmaster who has more responsibility. They are responsible for the success of a patrol leader in a patrol, for that patrol operating well. And they operate as the mentor for that patrol. And sure, at the early part of the 6-month term for that patrol leader is going to be making all kinds of mistakes. And then the roses, buds, and thorns after the patrol meeting, the patrol mentor will meet with them and will talk with them and help them self-discover what those mistakes were, and then how to improve upon those mistakes and to make a better patrol meeting the next time. So that by the end of the 6 months, hopefully the patrol meeting is really a fun event where things get accomplished and was advertised up front with an agenda, and everything flows. And the patrol is operating and being prepared for outings and running its troop meetings where it's the service patrol and so forth. So there's a lot of words on this slide, but the point here is the patrol mentor is a mentor, not a coach. And there's a very important distinction there. So a coach is constantly telling you what you're doing wrong and how to improve. A mentor is helping you self-discover those things. Okay, and that self-discovery is part of scouting. And that's why we let them make mistakes and learn from their mistakes all throughout scouting, whether it's they packed too much in their backpack for a backpacking trip, or they didn't create the best patrol agenda for their first patrol meeting. I mean, all of those kinds of mistakes are things that they make and they learn from. And it's that process of learning that is one of the magic things in scouting. Anyway, this patrol mentor thing is really important. And I have 6 patrols in my troop, and I can easily tell you where I have fantastic patrol mentors and where my patrol mentors are still learning at their job of being a patrol mentor, because the patrol function is less in the latter. The patrol leader, you know, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to publish their patrol meeting agenda a few days before. What we do in our troop is our patrol meetings alternate with our troop meetings. So one week it'll be patrol meetings, the next week troop meetings. The troop meeting is all in one spot, everybody together. The patrol meetings are all separate at each patrol leader's house. And so you have 8 to 10 scouts meeting in somebody's living room or around their dining room table. Whereas the troop meeting is like, you know, 50 kids all in a room, and it's crazy. So it's really valuable, in my opinion, to do patrol meetings this way, because it allows a focus for the patrol meeting that if you try to do the other method that some troops do, which is they have troop meeting every week and they have a patrol meeting as a part of the troop meeting every week. And it's just, okay, we're doing patrol meeting time, and then the patrols go off into the different corners of the room and they do their patrol meeting, but they don't do it very long, and they don't get the quality of time to create the learning for the patrol leader that this method of having separate complete meetings delivers. So anyway, 2 different ways to do things. And then this is all the stuff that you do in the patrol leader, in the patrol meeting. Now, what I think is really important for high performance, we talked about this a little bit in the meeting before this, is for the patrol to really build identity, for it to build patrol spirit, for it to have a patrol flag, a patrol yell, and a really cool patrol name. And so that should be one of the major things that your patrol leader is working to achieve, is to create that patrol spirit. And to be that enthusiastic leader that gets the rest of the patrol enthusiastic as well. And you guys all know teenagers, and there's sort of 2 modes that teenagers can be in. They can be in I'm too cool for school and I don't care mode, or they can be in the let's go mode. And you need them in the second one, which is the let's go mode. not in the I'm too cool for school and, you know, whatever kind of mode. Okay, so leader, then it's really important for that patrol mentor, if you see a tendency towards that, you know, too cool kind of thing going on, to help that patrol leader break through to letting their exuberance come out and to be an awesome leader, and to help them understand how that can be effective and why it's important. And the patrol people, I mean, people in patrol should have fun, and they should learn and grow from their participation in the patrol. So these are just some of the examples of our patrols. We have 5 patrols going to 6 right now. These are 4 of our 5. The 5th one is a flying squirrel patrol, but we have midnight, we have garden gnomes, we have rising phoenix and octopi. They all have a really cool name. They have a really cool flag that they put together and built themselves. They have a patrol yell. By the way, on their patrol flags, they have every ribbon that their patrol has won, and all the patrol competition, cooking competitions in the district camporee, et cetera, et cetera. And so that patrol flags becomes a sense of pride for them, because it has all of that legacy on it, that success over time, and they feel good about that, and they'll comment, oh, we want to get some more ribbons, you know, kind of a thing. So they do care. They don't care so much about beating the other patrol, but they do care about having that legacy and having that success on their flag. And so then the last thing I want to talk about here is a philosophical thing that I feel strongly about, and that's patrol composition. There's two schools of thought. One is that everybody should be the same age. So you have a patrol of 6th graders, you have a patrol of 7th graders, you have a patrol of 8th graders, blah, 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 or maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. And the other methodology is you spread the ages in each patrol. I am a huge advocate of the second methodology. When you have all the kids in the patrol be the same age, then you have the following problems. A, there's no natural inborn leader. It's really hard for a girl who's a 7th grader to lead a bunch of other 7th grade girls. If you have a 10th grade girl, the 7th grade girls look up to that 10th grade girls with big eyes and listen to everything she says, and they will do what she, you know, what she leads them to. It's a natural thing. But if it's the same age, it's tough. Also, over time, if they're all the same age, at some point, fewer and fewer of them attend because of the way the world works, and they go to band, or they go to orchestra, or they go to some team sport. And so your patrol begins to die and wither on the vine. And it's hard to, since you established this thing that everybody's the same age, it's hard to infuse new life into the patrol, and you don't have that legacy. If you have an age spread in every patrol, as older scouts age out, you're adding younger scouts behind them. And there's always this built-in age difference that gives you natural leadership in your older scouts and natural followership in your younger scouts. It works beautifully. You build up this legacy for your patrols, and it's awesome. So I am a strong, strong believer in the age spread in each patrol kind of methodology. Okay, troop meetings, they are scout-led. The SPL publishes an agenda. Our meetings are Monday night. She publishes her agendas by Friday the week before. It says how it's going to run, what's going to happen, who the announcements are, who's giving those announcements, informational bulletins, and so forth. And we have Service Patrol, who's responsible for the main program that is presented, whether they've invited a guest speaker, or they're going to teach a scout skill, or they're going to talk about a monthly program topic. It's the Service Patrol's responsibility, and they run that whole part of the meeting. And that Service Patrol also provides the personnel to do flag ceremony, and they also run the troop game for the troop meeting. So the SPL is basically the MC, but she's not running the whole thing, because in the middle of it, the big chunk of the meeting is run by the Service Patrol. And then the SPL comes in at the end and does the closing after the Scoutmaster minute. And the only thing I do in the entire meeting is the Scoutmaster minute. And otherwise, I'm just there. And maybe I'm signing things off or something in the back. Composition for PLC, Patrol Leaders Council. These are the positions that we have in our Patrol Leader PLC. And the things that are interesting and different here is really the webmaster, we don't find a need for our webmaster. Our website is relatively static. Instead, we have a social media chair, and this is super cool. And I would recommend this as a thing. If you have a scout who needs a leadership position and is willing to and kind of competent on Facebook to run a Facebook page for you, our Facebook page has like 400 people plus who have who visit it, and it is got constant content going on it every week, and that's what she does. Okay, that's what our social media chair does, and it's a real job, and it has real benefit to the troop because it gives us a brand out there in the market to attract other scouts. And it gives us, because of the kind of things she publishes, it sort of establishes the culture for the troop and helps people understand that we are a Scouts for Equality troop, that we welcome girls of all races, all religions, all orientation, all that kind of stuff. That's who we are, and that's part of the way that we're presented on social media. So it's helpful. The other thing that's cool that's on here that maybe a lot of troops don't necessarily do is an outdoor ethics guide. And this is something you can add as your troop gets big and you need more positions. And it's an awesome thing to have because it emphasizes the leave no trace methodology. And this person gives a presentation to the troop at least once every 6 months where they talk about that, and then they emphasize how to be responsible in taking care of the environment when we're out in the wilderness. The other thing our scouts do, oh, go ahead, question? Mm-hmm.
Dave, so Kristen just asked, well, I think you just answered what the outdoor ethics guide does, but she also asked what the bugler does.
Yeah, so this is the toughest one. Great question. I can give you some examples. So the SMART goals are things we ask them to come up with each 6-month term. And so what is our bugler? Some of the SMART goals our buglers have done is to gather the sheet music for the tunes that the bugler plays and then create a repository of them for the troop going forward so that the next bugler will have that sheet music and be ready to go to play reveille, to play taps, that kind of thing. Another thing that our bugler has done is to come into the job not knowing how to bugle. And so her SMART objectives were learn taps, learn reveille. And then she would come and she would play, you know, and at troop meeting to when she learned it. And then we were all like, yeah, you know, so that's a really cool and brave thing to do, right? So yeah, that's a couple of examples of things that bugler have had as SMART goals. And so SMART goals, for those of you who haven't been to a wood badge yet, is basically these 5 things. Specific, it's really clear what it is. Measurable, we know how to measure if it was achieved or not. Attainable, okay, it's not land on the moon next week, but it's something that we can actually attain. And realistic, similar. And then finally, time-based, like what is the deadline for getting it done? When are we gonna measure whether it was achieved or not? Our PLC meetings, very important. Our senior patrol leader publishes the agenda in advance for these. These are the kind of topics that are covered in a typical agenda. Here's a picture of a typical PLC meeting with them before pre-COVID, with them all sitting around the table. Now it's all sitting around a Zoom. But they're all there, and they're all working together, and it's incredible. They're not, you know, throwing paper airplanes and stuff. They're actually making progress and getting things done. It's kind of awesome. And it's a separate meeting from our troop meeting. It's a separate meeting from anything else. It's a real, typically 90 minutes once a month where we get together and they really do the business of managing the troop. And it's awesome. For example, one of the SMART goals that our SPL had for this 6-month term that's ending in November is to be JTE Gold as a unit, which is Journey to Excellence. It's the metric system the scouts use for units. And so she went through the entire sheet, presented it at the last PLC and said, hey, troop, we're going to be PLC Gold. And I mean, JTE Gold. And everybody's like, yeah, it was awesome. Okay, and the other thing we do is we do an annual planning session every year, and the annual planning session comes up with the plan for the year, which I think I have a picture of right here. So here's, you know, what our annual plan looks like. This is micro font. I don't know if it comes across Zoom very well, but the green stuff is a troop event, a troop outing, or a troop day event, or a week-long thing like summer camp or high adventure. You know, and then we have purple is the troop meetings, and blue is the patrol meetings, and red is PLC meetings, and yellow is Court of Honor, and orange is ILST. So all of that stuff gets planned. And ILST, for those of you who don't know, is Introduction to Leadership Skills for Troop, which is the scouts teaching each other leadership skills. They've gotten very, very good at it. We have a great council, and our council held the first ILST sessions for girl troops and taught the girl leaders, and I am eternally grateful for that. And then the girls took it themselves, and they've been running with it ever since. All of this stuff. And so what our job as adults is to go get the reservations and then come back to them when there's problems. Court of Honor, Scout led. We do two major ones where we hand over youth leadership, very common, from the old set of youth leaders to the new set of youth leaders. But we also do a summer Court of Honor right after summer camp in August to get all those merit badges out of the way. And then Eagle Court of Honors. We haven't had one yet, but hope to have them in January or February or sometime in Q1. We have 2 scouts possible for an inaugural class of female scouts. We'll see how it goes. Campouts, day outings, and service outings. We have a scout in charge. It's not the SPL, or it might be the SPL, but whoever it is, they are the acting SPL for that outing. So they are in charge of the outing, and they promote the event at the troop meetings leading up to it. They plan the event, coordinating with the adult in charge. They adjust the patrol makeup based upon attendance, especially complicated now with COVID, because we have to have COVID cohorts of 12 scouts or less based on attendance. And then they run it, and they run the event, and then they hold a roses, buds, and thorns at the end of it with everybody there in a big circle before we leave the event, going through the rose, buds, and thorns. And here's a pointer to the SIC definition, and it's also in, if you don't mind, Sally, sharing with them that G drive. The definition for the SIC is going to be in there, so it'll be in the chat here in a minute. The adult in charge is another position. Oh, I didn't change the acronym. Should be AIC, not SIC. And they are responsible for the background stuff, like getting the site reserved, typically 6 months in advance to the hour, if you want a state park kind of a site. They post the event details in Scoutbook calendar. They coordinate and mentor the scout in charge. They plan their transportation to and from the event. And then they ensure that there's adult leadership coverage to be suitably too deep and have appropriate training, wilderness, first aid, all the weather trainings, safe swim, safe boating, all that good stuff, depending upon the kind of outing. And then they go on the outing as the adult leader in charge. So it might be a Scoutmaster or not be the Scoutmaster. So again, just like the SIC, it's basically the acting Scoutmaster for the outing. And then summer camp. So we, last summer, we're gonna have 3 summer camps. We had 3 summer camps the summer before. Instead last, but basically what we try to do on the average leaving COVID out of the situation is we try to offer one immediately after school is out, early June, so that families that are planning vacation a little bit later can still have their scout attend. And then we try to have one at the end of July, so if they had an early vacation as a family, that the scout can attend that one. So it gives them a choice one way or another. And then we have high adventure scheduled so that it doesn't conflict with either of the summer camps. And our scouts have already chosen the high adventure that they want to do long in advance so that we can get the reservations. And speaking of high adventure, scouts love high adventure. And whether they're girls or boys, they just love it. And so right now we're doing 2 a year. This winter, we're going to do the Advanced Dog Sled Adventure at Northern Tier. But other winter adventures you could do would be skiing, extended snow camping and snowshoeing, Death Valley backpacking, sea base. All of those are really great, winter, spring kinds of high adventure. And then summer, everything is pretty much open to you. Philmont, Sea Base, Northern Tier, Summit, Swamp Base, 50 milers that you set up. All of that stuff is awesome. And then you basically choose crew leaders who create the crew training plans. Typically the crew training plans are pretty, the girls plan pretty impressive training plans. Our Sea Base training plans included lots of sailing on the bay here, lots of online learning for nautical terms, how to deal with different wind situations. It was quite extensive. Yeah, the girls are quite impressive in terms of what they do to get prepared for high adventure. Advancement, this is true for all troops, girls and boys. The Scoutmaster is the person who sets the advancement sign-off rules. Nobody else does. I'll tell you what my rules are. It works great in our troop. For trail to first class requirements, I have our scouts sign them off. They do the edge and they do the sign off. And it's working fantastic. So this is back to a point that Kristen was making earlier, which is the scouts give back, the more experienced scouts give back to the less experienced scouts by being responsible to teach. And all of the first class and above scouts get involved and do it, led by our instructor. And then for the Scout Spirit and the Scoutmaster conferences for trail to first class, I have assistant Scoutmasters do those sign-offs, except for their own daughter. And then I reserve all sign-offs to be done by me, except my own daughter, and then some other ASM will do her. And it works great. This is a fantastic system. You can come up with your own system, but I'll tell you this works fantastic. We also have an instructor as one of our roles. It's a big time important role, like Kristen was talking about, because what she does is she organizes those first class and above scouts to be teacher scouts, whether it's on an outing or on our Friday night sessions that we hold maybe once or twice a month to work on scout skills with our scouts. She runs it all and she manages it all. We did one last night. It went for about 2.5 hours on all of our new scouts to try to work through a bunch of the scout rank requirements. And we had 5 teacher scouts there plus the instructor, and 3 breakout rooms, and I think 8 teacher or learner or student scouts, and it was awesome. And then we do the same thing at Campouts and summer camp, where we have our own scouts teaching each other, and it's awesome.
Dave, Denise was asking if this is separate from your regular
yes.
troop meetings and patrol meetings. Do you want to just run through your meeting schedule?
It's completely separate.
But you have a
sure.
Yeah.
So so Monday nights is troop meeting, alternating with patrol meetings. So one week it'll be troop meetings, the other week it'll be patrol meetings. Friday nights can be nothing, or it can be that instructor session, or it can be a PLC meeting. And then weekends are outings. And we have maybe 2 or 3 weeks a month where there's something going on the weekend. So very, very active troop. And it's possible because we have 20 ASMs and 52 scouts. And so there's so much going on that we can make it work. So how have we dealt with COVID? Huh, boy, oh boy, what a pain. So first of all, we are completely COVID free, despite the fact that we have continued our operations. And that's because we've been very careful and we put in place safety precautions that have worked effectively. Thank you. So virtual campouts happen every 6 weeks or so. We have families who have medical situation that does not allow them to take even any risk whatsoever, and they have to do everything virtually. And we totally get that. And we want to support them and we want to involve them and include them. And so we have virtual campouts. We also have in-person campouts and outings. And what we do for safety is we do 2 weeks SIP before for every participant, adult or youth. And we do daily temperature monitoring during those 2 weeks. We follow the CDC checklist, which is in the new guidelines. It's exactly the same that were in the guidelines that just came out from council. And we have a waiver and we take the temperature on arrival at the event of every participant using the touchless thermometers that you use on their forehead. Everybody must wear face masks, face coverings all the time, except at meals or strenuous exercise. And when you don't have a mask on because you're eating, you're 6 feet apart. And then single tenting, except in the case of sisters who we allow to tent together because they're at the same family unit at home. So, and then the cohorts are 12 Scout cohorts with assigned adults. And those last for a minimum of 3 weeks. And then afterwards, we email all outing participants, reminding them that if they do come down with COVID, that they're responsible to confidentially inform the Scoutmaster, and then I have to get the council and tell them and all that good stuff. So, but this has been super effective. We've done a 2-week super camp, which was our own summer camp. We've done 2 crews to sea base. We've done 2 different backpacking trips. We did a 40-person canoe trip with our brother troop over Labor Day. We've done a horseback riding. We've done service projects. All of that stuff has been done following these rules and no COVID infections. Okay, whew, I think I got done with 8 minutes to spare. So we can have questions. And I really appreciate Kristen's suggestions and comments on what was working for her troop. So if you guys have additional things that I didn't cover and want to bring them up, that would be awesome. Most welcome. Nobody has anything?
Well,
or are you shy?
Michael, this is Michael. I'm thinking about your enthusiasm for organizing patrols. I have to tell you, it concerns me. I'm thinking it's exactly what I wouldn't do, is to attempt to manipulate the Scouts' choice regarding how they organize patrols. So how do you? I'm curious. How do you reconcile that? Like, Scout-led is efficient and working well for the Scoutmaster.
I explain all of that to the PLC and then let them go at it. And
okay.
To date, they have done that. Yeah, and they have done so we started with 2 patrols in February of 2019, and we're up to 5, and all patrol organization and composition has organically changed through the direction of the PLC. Other than me sort of saying, hey, here's the problems with single age patrols. Do you guys understand that? And they all go, oh yeah, we get it. And then that's all that's it. So that's the mentoring. But other than that, they've taken it and run with it and made it happen.
Do you think, are they leaving room for individual choice? Like, I want to belong to that troop, to that patrol, or is the PLC? Yeah, it is such a Yeah, it's so like within being a large number of going, involving everybody's best wishes on which 2 girls they want to be with. I mean, they do all of that, constant back and forth conversations. Yes. And they're very happy. Like every now and then, okay, so we have had over the almost 2 years, we've had one girl who's moved patrols twice as she was searching for a patrol where she felt that she would best fit. So when a girl says, hey, I want to move, then we take it to the PLC and they work with her. Okay, so that's certainly a possibility. And we've had another girl who saw leadership opportunity by moving patrols and moved patrols to take on a leadership role, PLC troop guide leadership role. And that was a tough decision, and she made that decision. The SPL offered it to her, and she considered it and thought, oh, leave my friends or go and take on this leadership. The troop needs it. I want to go do this leadership thing. So that's what she decided. Okay, cool. Thanks for clarification there. That helps.
Yeah.
Hey Dave, it's Denise Batista. How are you?
Hey, Denise.
Hey, I just had a couple of...
Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. I just had a couple of quick questions. I love how you guys are managing COVID. Question about how you're going to manage, or how you are managing, the shelter in place now that kids are starting to go back to school.
Yeah. So right now, we only have one scout who is not doing distant learning, and so she's not going on the outings because she's intermingling in school, and that's not shelter in place. So she's virtual only at this point, virtual outings only. When everybody changes, we're going to have a committee meeting and decide how we want to modify our rules. Yeah, we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
And just yesterday, the council published a unit restart guidebook, and I just posted the link to it. Pretty comprehensive on various ways to stay safe and gradually increase your face-to-face meetings and things. But it just came out yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to absorb a lot of it yet, but it looks like it's got some good resources.
Yeah, it's highly in sync with what we're doing. And it's really great to see council putting that out. It's awesome. Yeah, Denise, what was your other question? What you've been doing for recruiting events, both okay. So yeah, so our recruiting has been the parent network. So parents talking to other parents with the flyers that we give them and inviting them to come to join nights, if you will, where we have a split parent session and the youth doing the troop meeting and the guest youth participating. And then having breakouts to do, I think they did some kind of drawing game as one of the activities and so forth, just fun stuff that they could do. And it's been very successful. We had 7 scouts join September, October as a result of that. So
wow,
yeah, but
great.
we can't do anything in person.
Well, cool. Thanks. I appreciate the ideas. Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I put, and if you go to the G drive that Sally published, did you publish that? Yeah, right up towards the top. If you go into that G drive, there is a folder that has the flyers that we have been using for the parents to hand to other parents, or for the scouts to hand to other scouts. Obviously, you can customize them to your own troop, but they've been pretty effective. So anyway, just stuff, maybe just even nothing more than ideas for you on the kind of stuff to put on the flyers.
Dave, I have a comment. I just remembered it. You covered so much ground. I didn't want to forget this. First outing, because I'm the committee chair for Troop 673G down in Scotts Valley. Our very first outing was down south off in Big Sur, and we're hiking, and so the scouts moved into a single file line, to make room for other hikers that we would meet. And then we're halfway there, first outing ever, unprompted, they burst spontaneously into song. It was the most amazing thing. I love that. And it's happened over and over again, unprompted by adults.
Yeah.
It's just magic.
I know.
I love it.
I know. I agree. It's awesome. It's awesome. Like it happened with us up in the Quetico on a Boundary Waters trip, high adventure, 94-mile trip. And there we are canoeing along, and all of a sudden it's like the sound of music,
And I've got a 20-year-old Eagle Scout at home, and never once did I hear any of his units burst into song. It's like, doggone it.
That's right. Exactly. All right, awesome. Well, please make sure you get a copy of the G Drive link, because this presentation is in there and there's other materials in there that may be of use to you. And if you ever want to contact me with a question or suggestions, like I said, it's how we do it, but I'm very open to best practices and learning from each other. And a lot of what we do is best practices I learned from somebody else somewhere along the line, doing this for 21 years. So, you know, the whole point is to learn and grow from each other. So I'd love it to get best practices from you guys as well. So thank you for coming today, and hopefully it was helpful.
This was terrific, Dave. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you very much. This is great.
Thank you very much, Dave.
All righty. Thank you, Sally, for all your help.
A little bit. You could have done it, but it was fun to sit in. Girls are awesome.
Yeah, they do. They're incredible Boy Scouts.
I always knew it.
I know, right? My 19-year-old daughter is a Gold Award Girl Scout, and she's so mad at the Boy Scouts for like doing this 4 years too late or whatever.
Oh,
so
just yeah.
Well,
bring
had to happen sometime.
Reader.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody.
All right. Shall I end it for everybody, or anybody got questions? I guess we're good.
Okay. Awesome.
Enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.